Hi, I'm going to do the best I can at explaining myself here. I'm going to try to explain something that I've been getting quite a bit here lately, and I would like to put some reasoning behind some of the answers that I've gave some of these people, and also I've got a big heart, so I have a really hard time just saying no. I have a hard time with that. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about why it is that I don't want a business partner. I've had a lot of people come out of the cracks and offer all kinds of deals and things that could benefit my company, and all these different people that want to talk to me about how they can help me. And I'm not feeling it. I am a free-natured person. I've never worked with other people. In school, I was piss poor at group work. I would be the one that would always try to get it done real fast without all the other kids, just so I can get it done. I didn't want any of them slowing me down. Now, I'm not trying to say that if you're approaching me wanting a partnership that you're just going to slow me down, but I am trying to say that you're not necessarily just trying to help me. So, back in 2005, I had another repair shop. It was actually just before '05. 2005 was my last year open. And it was just a computer repair business. We did networking and a lot of business networks and server deployments, and we'd set up offices with domain environments, and some of them we'd set up with like Linux servers that we didn't want to spend the money on Microsoft. So I had this shop open back in 2005, and it was the most boring shit I've ever done in my life, because computer work, it's not like this. This is crazy. Phone ring all day long. Ring, 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 ring. And just piles of stuff coming in. And this is fast-paced, crazy business. So back in '05, that shop that I had, it was some boring shit. I mean, we actually paid to have satellite TV installed so that we'd have something to do. But I wound up bringing in just enough repairs through there to keep the bills paid. And it was a little bit of a struggle. And, I was paying somebody to keep the front end open, and I had freedom to leave. And, this place was doing okay. And I'd been open for a little bit more than a year, and I was approached by one of our clients, one of the people that we did work for, and he caught me on a really bad day where I was stressed and I was having financial issues, and he caught me on a really bad day, and he says, Jason, why don't you think about giving all this up here and just, I could set you up with a really fat salary, and you tell me whatever it is that you want to get paid, and I'll pay it. You can come sit and work for me. And the guy was needing a website built. So I was having a really hard time. The gal that I had working for me, she was bored out of her mind. Like I'd come back from service calls, and she'd be like slouched over on the chair watching TV going, "Hey." I'd say, "How's it going?" "It's going okay." And it was so boring. So, was having financial struggles. She was hating it. I was just, it had been a year, and we weren't just like going. And so I thought, man, this guy's going to just, I can walk away from all of this and have a check every week. So I did it. I didn't realize what kind of a mistake that I was making back then. I wound up in a situation where I had a job to go to. I would go in and I would sit at a desk in a small room, and I would sit at this desk all day long. I would get up and I would leave for lunch. Once in a while I'd have to get up and go service something at one of the, they had multiple locations, and I worked at the central office. Once in a while I'd have to get up and go service something there, and the rest of the time I was supposed to be building this website. Well, I'm not going to go into all the details of that situation, but I wound up doing a whole lot of stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I opened my mouth. Alarm. I opened my mouth too many times whenever they said, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's like, "Yeah, I can do that." I learned back then to keep my mouth shut and not let them know what you can do, because you'll wind up doing everything. So I wound up working on everything, and I had a boss that was riding me all the time. "Hey, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? Is this done?" And I'd come into work, and I was just like scared about it, when this guy was going to walk past my door all the time, worried about when boss man was going to walk past the door. And that just, it really got me down. I was depressed. I couldn't do my job. I would come to work and I was not able to function. I would sit at the desk and I would do my best to do what it is that I was supposed to be doing, but then every so often this guy would pop in and ask me about an unrelated project that was a side shoot. So here I was struggling to get my main job done, worrying all the time about this dude walking in. So all the time worrying about somebody else and how, how they're going to affect me. And I wound up quitting that job one day. Lunchtime rolled around. I left for lunch, and I was so depressed over this job. I left for lunch, and I came back from lunch just long enough to hand in my letter of resignation, which was pretty heartfelt. It was a really sincere letter, and I was very honest in it. And that was it. I left for lunch one day, and I popped back in just long enough to hand in my letter. Now, if you've ever been in the IT business or you understand how this works, and you have an IT guy that just jumps up and walks out like that, it's a big fucking deal, because the IT guy is like it. I know how all of the servers and virtual machines are configured and how everything is set up. Remember, this is somebody that was a client long before I got signed on as an employee for them, and I was it. I'd set up everything. I'd configured the way all the stores communicate and long-range wireless networks to bridge in remote warehouses, and I set their stuff up. And most of that was done before I was an in-house employee, and I was good with that because I'm free-natured. And when I was doing it as my own business, that kind of work made me happy. But whenever I started doing it for somebody else and doing it to where I had to worry every day about this man firing me or him popping into my office all the time, like I was there all the time, and he could intrude on me any time. And that bothered the total holy shit out of me, and I quit. And I went back to doing freelance computer work like I was doing before I went to work for him. Now, I didn't have the shop, but I got all my old customers on the phone, I sent out letters, and I drummed up all this business. Let me make sure my camera's recording. Okay, so I drummed up all this business, and for several years I worked out of the house doing freelance computer work, and I say several, but I really don't know how many. It might have been 5, 8, I don't know. This kind of work is all I'd ever known. So I started doing a lot of freelance computer work, again, like I'd always done, paying the bills, but I'm still running around place to place to place to place, bird dogging checks. So-and-so didn't pay, I have to figure out why and call them, and always chasing down money, always running. So the IT business is something that I know a lot about. Test me, ask me some questions. And I mean related to networking and office configurations, and a lot of the stuff I did, my clients really liked me doing that, because I would go into an office that needed all their PCs replaced and the server replaced, and I would structure that in a way that would give them the littlest downtime, and each employee, whenever they would come back in and sit down on their workstation, it was like nothing ever happened. They had a new machine, all their stuff is where it should be. Once in a while some minor adjustments to get some old ass software working, or who knows, but I'm getting sidetracked. So that's a business I know a lot about. So here I was, independent. I wasn't doing great, but I was happy, and I thought I could be happier, and I took a job working for this place, and man, they beat me down. I mean, I went from being happy to just really being depressed. Once in a while, I wouldn't intentionally do it, but I would milk the clock because I wasn't getting anything done. I couldn't think well enough to get anything done. So off I went, back out on my own, and I did this for several years, and I got approached by another company. Now, this is a company that's still in my life right now. I have a big heart for them. I'm going to say some things here in this video that they may like to hear. I may even direct them toward this video, because they still pay me money. They don't know exactly what's going on in my mind, and this gives me a chance to express myself. So anyways, I got approached by this company. I was actually another customer of mine. I was at their office, and they needed somebody to handle a specific task, a very large task, PCI compliance. They needed somebody to handle PCI compliance. So I didn't have a whole ton of work, more than I can handle. I had quite a few clients, and I accepted this position. What wound up happening from there is they wound up putting me on as a part-time employee, and encouraged me to continue keeping the rest of my business going on the side. So they hired me as a try to make this quick. They hired me as a part-time employee. They flew me out to Arizona to get me ISA certified to be an internal security assessor. And so I went out there and I did the assessor-led class. I took the test. I passed it with like 97 or 98%. I don't remember. It was a really good score. So anyway, I took the test. I passed it, and I came back being an ISA certified. And this was a pretty decent position. I mean, with pretty good pay. And it's an office position where you go out and you make security assessments on the networks and you decide, whether or not they're meeting the requirements. It's a lot more complicated than that. Back then it was 87 pages of requirements. But the assessor wasn't allowed to do the work. I've edited something out that would keep that company from getting in trouble. So anyways, I bought dress clothes because this was a really upscaled office environment. I bought dress clothes, dress shoes, and I was really into this. I felt it. I felt really good about this new job that I was getting, and I dressed for the job. I was ready to be big internal security assessor and walk in with my clipboard and tell people what they were doing wrong. I started writing a database to track changes in the environment and a system to bring everything together to where we had one centralized point to keep track of all the equipment and all the changes, and really started trying to design an IT infrastructure for this company. Now, in order for PCI compliance to work, I needed to hire people. I couldn't get them to do that. I didn't have a strong enough voice, I think is the biggest problem, but I couldn't get the help that I needed. Well, after spending a few weeks in the office, maybe a few months designing this system that was really cool for keeping track of everything, the people involved there started to think, well, PCI compliance is about security. We're having issues with theft. Well, camera systems is going to be all that. So they started buying these camera systems. And stacking them in my office. So these cameras, and when I say stacking them in my office, I mean stacking them in my office, floor to ceiling, multiple stacks, because there was 44 or 45 stores back then. So I started getting all these stacks of camera systems, along with another task that I had, which was deploying managed firewalls at each and every retail location, which they decided to outsource. That wasn't my decision. They decided to outsource the firewall part of this, so the firewall company shipped all the firewalls all at once. I had 44 or 45 firewalls sitting there, and that wasn't a big deal. Part of my job was going to be putting in these firewalls. Nobody else can do it, so I did it. I set out on the road and I installed 45 firewalls. I spent so many nights in hotels, I don't even know. But it was supposed to be a short-term thing. It didn't bother me that much because I told my family, hey, I'm going to be gone 3 days, home. I'm going to be gone a week, home. I'm going to be gone 4 days, home. And I nailed this out in less than a month. I installed all those firewalls. And I'm not going to go into the technical details of what it took to install each one of them, but basically I wound up walking into retail stores that I'd never been into before that had spaghetti balls of wires everywhere, hubs hanging by stuff. And I'd have to go in and make sense out of the wiring, hook up these firewalls, and segment the network in a way that only the point of sale equipment was through the firewall, everything else was outside of the firewall. So I had to walk in and do this on the fly. No big deal. It's a one-time shot. Go out and put all the firewalls in. Well, from there, I wound up getting hit with all those camera systems, and I didn't have anybody to help with it. So to install a camera system, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to pull wire. And we're talking buildings that are comparable to the size of Walmart. And I kind of get worked up talking about this one because I have a really big heart for this company. I like the people that work there. I like the people that hired me. These are some really, really good people. So anyways, here I am. I'm out putting in these camera systems, and I'm pulling the wire by myself. I was told, flag down a manager. They'll get store hands. And I tried that a couple of times, and the managers are short-handed too. Who are they going to give me? Their dudes are busy unloading the truck. So I wound up doing this myself, pulling wires for cameras and wiring all these CCTV systems. And I was thrilled when I learned about balun transformers and I could shoot some of these video feeds comfortably down Cat 5. And I started finding unused wires in the buildings in some places, and I started using balun transformers to get clear video down standard copper pair wire. And So I made that work and I got through them, but what I've come up with is that it was just this revolving door that never ended. I was not able to get PCI compliance done. I wasn't able to focus. I was back in the same position again. I couldn't do my job because I wasn't capable of following this sort. I'm not capable of following someone else's structure. I'm too independent, and it made me mad. I'm not mad like angry, but it drove me nuts because I was depressed again. I didn't know why, and I needed to own something. I needed something of my own where I could come to work in my fucking socks and t-shirt if I want to, and I don't have to worry about the boss man saying, you can't do that. This might seem a little arrogant and cocky, but this is describing myself to the core and how I've been since school and how I've been since these previous experiences working for other employers. Had I been somebody else taking this PCI compliance position, I may have been able to say, hey, you hire 4 guys or I'm leaving. But I'm not that type of guy. I'm not somebody that wants to boss other people around, and because of that, I have a hard time hiring employees too. I'm somebody. It's really difficult for me to explain myself. I'm not going to do that too much more. So, when it comes to a partner, somebody that I have to worry about actions that I take, somebody that I have to worry about their cut or worry about what I'm going to do here going to affect them. I don't need it. I'm staying so buried in work I can't see straight, and for me to partner up with somebody is going to be somebody that I have to worry about on a daily basis. Some of you that have came forward with offers have some pretty decent offers. You're not entirely just trying to leech. However, some of you that have came forward, you're just wanting to latch on to a little bit of what I got here, and I've worked hard. I'm working damn hard to keep this going and build this up for us and our family. So one side of not wanting to partner is because a lot of you are, I'm not talking to all of you, my viewers. I'm talking about the ones that have came forward and said, hey buddy, look at this, I got this going on and this and this and here's where I can really help you out. And it's like, wait a minute, how's that help me? It's like, how's that help me? So, I can't have a partner in this. Maybe one day in the future I can, but as it is right now and how I've been for the first 34 or however many years of my life I've been alive now, I'm just not the type of person that does well planning and structuring with other people. I'm piss poor at it. You're not going to like the outcome. This isn't a decision that I make only for me. This is a decision that I make only for you too. For you is not, I don't make this decision just for myself, but I make it for you too, the one that's asking me for a partnership, because you're asking me this, and if you have good intentions, you don't understand me. It's not going to work out good. And I know what I'm doing now is working out good. I'm happy with this. We have a structured way of doing things. I have a lot of freedom in this business. Now I still have to get all the work done, but I don't have to worry about a business associate or a boss coming in and or coming in and wanting to manage my money. Like, what if I worked out a partnership with somebody and they want to start getting in on the money, which they will. That's what this is all about, is money. So no partners, no more jobs. I'm not going to quit and go take another job ever again. I've done it twice. Both times I learned a very, very valuable lesson about myself, and all of those things combined with bumping into Louis Rossman and Jessa Jones and a lot of other people here on YouTube, Leon Stacy, and I've been following a ton of you, and you all have helped me a lot to come to this spot here that I'm in, where my phone rings all day long and stuff has really gotten to be pretty cool. I'm not going to hand over a large chunk of that to somebody that wants to latch onto it. I don't have a need to piggyback onto somebody else that's doing really good, because we're building up and doing really good here as well. What I do have a need for is remaining independent. And when I say a need, I need this to the core. This is something that I have to have in order to survive. I don't think anybody likes having to make money every day or being forced to make money every day, but if you find something that you enjoy doing and you can make money at it, dude, grab onto it, because That's what I'm doing right here. I love what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about it, and I don't want anybody to take it from me. So when you come in here and you start talking percentages and numbers, and that's all static in the back of my brain with what I've got going on in the foreground. You can't see what's behind my camera, but behind my camera, I'll show you all someday, there's a table, and it's lined. I mean lined. This is the pile I make as I'm done. This is yesterday's pile, okay? As I get these jobs done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's yesterday's boxes. I went through 9 devices yesterday. And as I get them done, this table fills back up, and I keep shuffling down the line. Aside from that table, there's another shelving system behind it that's rode with jobs. There's a lot of work going on here. I don't need to piggyback on anybody to get more work or to give out to do more work cheaper. So that's it for this video. I hope it don't come off as too arrogant, but there's some things in here I wanted to explain. Partially for that old employer. I never talked to it. I never told them about that stuff. I've kind of gradually started to pull back and do my own thing again. And now they've got other IT related help, but I'm still doing the internal security assessments, and I'm still holding that ISA certification. So I guess that's it for this video. You probably only watched the first 30 seconds of it because this is not a repair video. But since I have so many people that have learned about me on YouTube come forward wanting to say, hey, buddy, let's be partners, and here's what I can do for you, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a partner. Even if you have good intentions, you don't understand the way I work, and I can't work with a partner. Maybe when I get a little older I can, but as it is right now, I have a hard enough time directing employees the way that they need to go, let alone deal with somebody next to me that's supposed to be an equal and keep them from stepping on my toes. That's something that I don't want to have to worry about. I've eliminated a lot of stress in my life. I have largely quit thinking about what other people think of me, and to bring a partner into the situation is going to pull me back a little bit into that state where I have to worry about what somebody else thinks of me. And right now, I really don't. So that's it for this video. I have to get back to work. I hope you all have a good day, and I hope all of your repairs are successful.